Hello and welcome to Mind Your Business. This is Tanika Steens and I am your host. And today I have Dr. Terri Truesdale, who is a functional medicine chiropractor. And she is here today to talk to us about functional medicine. She is a child of God who practices functional medicine, but that is not just who she is and all she does. She has different assignments that God has gave her, and that includes being a teacher, a personal trainer, and a movement coach. She's a grad student, and now she is a doctor. She says that she can't separate her personal journey from her professional one at this point, but her ministry and heart is for Christian women who have been struggling with chronic disease and have not found answers to their health issues. So today she's going to talk to us about that and this assignment that God gave her to create abundant health and abundant life courses so she can help women to find a more fulfilling way to be healed. And so today she's going to tell you about how to go from hurting to freedom, joy, purpose, confidence, and identity through her course, Abundant Health, Abundant Life. And I am excited that I get to actually start a journey with Dr. Terri as far as doing the Abundant Health and Abundant Life course. And I'll be journaling and documenting and going live to talk about my journey as far as doing this course. But today, we're going to give Dr. Terri the opportunity to talk to us and give us a little bit more information. So we're going to welcome her on now. Hello, how are you?
Hello. Oh, thank you. Gosh, you're so wonderful.
Well, it is a pleasure to have you on today. So I did read a little bit about who you are, but I would like for you to let everyone know who you are, what you do, and why you do it.
Sure. Yeah. So thank you, first of all, for this opportunity. I don't know, God just brought us together and, sparks are flying, I guess. But honestly, in the last couple months, God's really been working on my heart on how to answer that question. And I have actually stopped identifying myself with what I do, because, people ask, oh, so, who's Terri? Well, I'm a functional medicine chiropractor, but really that's just what I do. It's not who I am. And first and foremost, and always, I'm a daughter of the Most High King, and I just do whatever he tells me to do. So, in terms of like what functional medicine is, basically, how I like to describe it is you have a coin, and there's two sides to that coin. One side is what most people are familiar with, the conventional medicine model, where you get sick or you get injured, and then you go to a clinic, a hospital, whatever, and you see your primary or a specialist, and then they do what they do, whether it's medication or surgery or whatever. But when it comes to chronic illnesses, people just really aren't getting better in that model of medicine. So on the other side of the coin, it's still medicine, but it's just a different approach. With functional medicine, we really try to dig deeper and find the root causes of what is going on with you chronically. Like, where did it start? What body systems are affected? And because, we're always asking the question, why? Like, why is that? So if you've got autoimmunity, instead of saying, okay, here's some medication to control your symptoms, we go, well, why did you get that to begin with? Because we know that as sisters in Christ, we know that is not God's plan and purpose for our life. And so we have to find out and dig deeper, what that root cause is. And sometimes it's 20 years before, things started brewing in your system. It could even be spiritual warfare. And that's why I can't separate, my belief system with what I do. So that's kind of how I approach things.
Yeah. I love the fact that you said not separating your belief system with what you do. You have to believe in what you do, and that is a part of who you are and what makes you who you are. So I want to go back to what you said when you said, who is Dr. Terri? And you said, I practice functional medicine, but that's not who I am.
Yeah.
No, you're not functional medicine. That's not who you are.
Mhm.
But your belief system in understanding how to get to the root cause of what is truly impacting someone mentally, physically, chronically is who you are, because you believe that if you look deeper beneath what you see on the surface, that you can uncover layers of what's been going on or manifesting for years. So when did you first, find your passion for functional medicine?
Well, I guess, the who I am in this journey began when I was about 18 or so, and I had a misdiagnosed bone tumor. It was in my arm, and I kept getting horrible pains. And the conventional model of medicine really didn't help me at all. It took them 4 years for them to discover that it was actually a tumor, and that's only because it started growing so big you could see it growing. Um, and during that time, I was treated like I was making stuff up. Maybe I was just this young girl wanting attention. I even members of my church came to me later after I finally, had the surgery and everything, and they apologized to me because they didn't believe me. And so I have a deeply rooted compassion and empathy for women. I could just cry for women who are struggling through whatever their chronic issues are, and they're not being heard. So I think that's where that journey really began. And then I became a teacher, which further laid the foundation. So I was a teacher for 10 years. That laid the foundation for God to go, okay, you're a teacher. I've designed you to be a teacher. You're going to continue to be a teacher for the rest of your life. And no matter, what it is that you do. And then circumstances changed. I started running, moving, gaining confidence, because I was never a confident woman at all. And so through movement, God used that to help me gain some confidence. And then I went back to, grad school, and because I loved movement so much, but I wanted to know what was hurting people. And so I went back to grad school, and during grad school is really where the functional medicine side of things came to light, because we learn in chiropractic school, we go through the same kind of coursework that, or the same course hours that MDs go through, but our emphasis is different. Like, we have a full year of nutrition, whereas medical doctors don't have a nutrition course. Like, here's the list of vitamins and this is what you need to know, and so the content was just different, in terms of what I was learning. And that just really got my interest peaked. And then once I graduated and started treating patients, I would see women who were like overweight, in pain, couldn't get a handle on any of that. And I'm like, well, I could adjust you. I could do everything I know to do as a chiropractor, in terms of the body, the movement. But until you get your weight under control, your diabetes under control, all these things, you're going to have heightened level of pain. You're going to have all this inflammation. And so God just started shifting my emphasis in my practice. And now I mostly do functional medicine. I find it to be much more rewarding. But, that 20-year plus span of going from the bone tumor to what I do now, I can look back and go, God was, even though it was this windy, torturous path, he had a plan and purpose. And, the windy path isn't over yet, I'm sure. But for now, this is where that path has led me to. And this is what God had, the enemy tries to do things to our bodies to, defeat us, but God turns it into good always. So that's where I'm at now.
Yeah. I can so relate because for years I suffered from having bowel problems. And
Mhm.
ever since I was younger, it didn't matter. It didn't matter what I ate. It didn't matter what I drank. It didn't matter. It would go in, but it wouldn't come out.
Yeah.
And so for years, I suffered with not being able to go to the restroom. And in about 2018, now I'm in my 40s,
Mhm.
I am having these major pains, like pain so bad that I am thinking, am I having a child? What is going on? And I go to the hospital and I'm in the emergency room and they do tests and they tell me that I'm fine and they send me home.
Yeah.
And I am just right before they go to send me home, I'm like, no, something's wrong. I feel
Yeah.
like there's an explosion
Yeah.
happening within my body. I know what my body
Mhm.
feels like, and this
Right.
isn't normal.
That's right.
And they sent me home. And as I'm at home, I'm just thinking, okay, what is going on with me? I don't know what to do. So I called my doctor, and my doctor was out, unfortunately. And so the nurse practitioner was like, we're going to get you back out there. We're going to run a CAT scan. Well, thank God that they did a CAT scan, because at this time they found out that my bowels had ruptured. And
Mhm.
now they're talking emergency surgery.
Yep.
Well, at this point, there was so much toxins
Yep.
and bad stuff going on that they couldn't, go in and do surgery right then and there. It took 2 months
Yeah.
before I was able to even have the surgery.
Yep.
And I could tell like my whole body was going through like trauma, it seemed like,
Right.
And so my doctor that did it, he specifically went to school for the type of surgery that they did on me.
Good.
And had it been 20 years prior, that surgery would not have been available. And
Right.
so again, everything happens at the right time in the right place. And I actually was able to recover. Half of my colon was removed.
Right.
But now, he told me, he said, you won't have this problem again because we've got to the root cause. And what was going on, my colon was in a V, like shaped in.
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
like, it's been like that. No one in all the years of going to the doctor and having checkups and physicals, no one was able to diagnose that.
Right.
And so it
Right.
took something like a near death experience to understand. And he said, it doesn't matter what you were eating. It doesn't matter what you were doing. It was something like inside your body that was going on. And
Right.
it leads me back to whatever is going on in our mind can
Mhm.
disrupt our body.
For sure.
And when you are a ball of stress sometimes and it
Uh-huh.
doesn't show on the outside, it's
Yeah.
internalizing. And so what was happening, I was so good at holding stress
Yes.
in
Holding
that
it
it was,
together.
there you go, from a very
Mhm.
early age,
Yeah.
that I had been carrying this for so long
Right.
that it couldn't take anymore. And that, and so getting to the root cause of what was causing this, I never even realized it. And so what I want to ask you, as far as functional medicine goes, where do you think that these illnesses and diseases derive from? Do you believe from your research or what you saw that it does start within the mind, or is it more physical? Where do you get from that?
It's that's a tricky question because when, as a functional medicine practitioner, any good functional medicine practitioner will take gobs and gobs of intake forms from you. And we ask the questions, even from, like, what kind of birth were you? Were you a natural birth? Were you cesarean?
Mhm.
Like, we check your, from the very beginning, and your family history and all of that. And we look at the totality of Tanika, right? Um,
Mhm.
all the while, we ask such detailed questions that we can hone in on, okay, she's got a lot of gut stuff, and her stress level is high, right? So then, as a practitioner, we're not trained counselors. But we do have to broach the subject of, okay, where's this stress coming from? What does your stress management look like? Even when I'm doing something chiropractic, like let's say I'm working on someone's low back or something, and the Holy Spirit just, prompts me to go ask them what they're thinking about right now. So I ask them, okay, so like let's say I'm working on you, Tanika. I'm like, Tanika, what are you thinking about while I'm working on you? And maybe you say, well, I've got this other appointment later today, or I might, and it's like, you aren't present in what I'm doing with your body. And that tells me something. That tells me how connected you are to yourself, how, there's lots of, I guess, clues that we look for when treating. And some of it can definitely stem from our perspective on life, maybe the tools that we use to survive our childhood that don't work for us now as adults. They creep in and cause certain, dysfunction in our mindset, which then causes issues in our body. Sometimes it is just a matter of physical stuff, like, oh, there goes a pumpkin flying across my windy yard. There goes a pumpkin. Anyway, there's times where it's like, maybe you've worked in a salon your whole life and you have been exposed to chemicals, and those chemicals are finally your liver's not able to detox you. So that's a tough question to answer, just kind of broad brush, because we really, and that's the other beauty of functional medicine, is everybody is individual. You could have the same diagnosis as someone else, and I would treat you totally different than I would treat them for lots of other reasons. It's a long-winded answer.
No, that's good. I get that, because I think about often when you said you're sitting there and you're helping someone, or you're helping me, for instance, and you're adjusting me, and you say, Tanika, where's your mind at? Now, the first thing that we think of as human beings is, I don't want her to think I'm stressed out over what's going on in this moment. Right. So we talk about other things, we deflect, right? Yeah. And so being present is saying, well, I'm sitting here thinking about how you're adjusting me and how this is affecting my body and how this is making me feel. That's not our first instinct to say. Yeah. When in reality, if we really were doing that, would we be honest about it? Because I don't want you to think that I've got a problem, even though you're adjusting me.
Or you're questioning your doctor, or that's a huge cultural shift that needs to happen in the conventional medicine model of medicine. The culture is, don't ask questions. Do what you're told. I wear a white coat. I'm the authority. I went to school. You don't know. You got your information off of Google, or whatever. In functional medicine, I again, any good functional medicine practitioner will tell you, this is a partnership. I can't do this without you. You have been in your body your whole life. I need your feedback. I need you to tell me, if I say, look, right now you've got so much going on, we could go one of three ways with your treatment. And I tell them what their options are. And it's like, what do you want to do? Now I run the risk of sounding like I don't have that authority, or, but it's like, no, this is your journey. I'm partnering with you on your journey, and you have to be compliant with it. So, pick the one that you're going to be compliant with.
With my doctor, when he came in and they're like, oh, you're going to have emergency surgery. And he walks in there and he's like, nope, we're not doing emergency surgery. And I looked at him and I said, okay, let's talk, doctor. Take the coat off and let's talk personal. Right. What if this is you? What would you do? Right. And he told me, he said, Tanika, first and foremost, I allow the Lord to lead me. I was like, okay, that's the first thing I needed to hear from you. Right. And second off, he was like, you know what? I specifically trained for this, so I know what is going on. And I'm like, yeah, I said, but I know what's been going on with me and nobody is listening. So
Yep.
I need you to understand,
This point,
I have all the faith in the world that I'm going to be okay.
right.
But what would you do? Would
Yeah.
you do an emergency surgery right now, or would you wait? And whatever you tell me, because you're the expert and I'm telling you how I feel, I'm going to trust you in
Right.
this process. And, I did. I trusted him. He was forthcoming with me, and he told me the reasons why we shouldn't do the emergency surgery and why we should wait. And most people were like, what are you waiting for? Why would you wait? And I'm like, because it could kill me faster
Yeah.
if we don't do what needs to be done to get to the root of the problem. And so I agree that the doctor is there. He only knows what you tell him, or she only knows what you tell them. And so they can't just because they do have that background and they have went to school doesn't mean that they can read your mind and know what is affecting you. So you do have to work together, and it does have to be a partnership. So thank you for sharing that, because people have to realize when you have a doctor, I think you have an intimacy with them, because now they have to become a part of your total well-being, your
Right.
body, mind, and soul, because they know you. Like my physician, my regular doctor, he's been my doctor since I was a child. And so he's watched me grow up. He's seen me go through changes, and he knows me, inherently. And that's a blessing to me, because he knows when I'm not right or whatever, because we
Yeah.
have that connection in that relationship. A lot of times we don't cultivate those relationships
Right.
with our doctor. And I mean, and that's like another family member, someone that knows you on that level.
And I will say this, and I do mention this in the course, that I am not against conventional medicine, because even though in what they're strong at, they still kind of failed me with my bone tumor,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
they are there for a purpose as well. If I break my arm, if I need surgery, all those things, or have an allergic reaction or just whatever, I want to have that kind of practitioner to go to. And the other thing I'd like to add, the doctors themselves are kind of stuck in the middle of this broken system. And I mean, just like any industry, there's good ones and there's bad ones, right? But even for the good ones, they're kind of stuck, and it's hard for them. They're dictated to in terms of what they can bill, what they can diagnose, how much time they can spend with a patient. And so, I just want to speak life into those people who obviously went to school to do the hard work because they have a heart for it and for people and for ministry. But it's just as a model of medicine, it's failing people with chronic issues.
Yeah. Yeah, and I totally agree. I believe the holistic way of getting back to the earth and what it has to offer us, if we went more on a way of being one and in tune with that, we would be better able to understand who we are, what we're made up of, and how we can function. And so with that being said, I want to talk to you about the Abundant Health, Abundant Life course, and how it works and how it is going to help people to have a better, more prosperous, healthy life.
Well, okay. So this is a passion in my heart right now. And God he actually, again, going back to my history where I was a teacher for 10 years, what I was finding in my clinic, as it was shifting towards the chiropractic movement stuff, more towards the functional medicine side, part of that move was because patients would, well, what is functional medicine? I'm like, okay, well, this is what functional medicine is. Every office visit, every new patient, I had to explain the same stuff, and it just highlighted that there is such a need out there, not just to be treated this way, but to know that it's an option. And so my objective isn't to get patients to treat functional medicine, the functional medicine way. It's God's put a burden on my heart to educate people on, this is an option. The enemy has you deceived into believing that conventional medicine is the only option, and you just have to fall in line with it. That is not the case. And as soon as God highlighted that for me, it's like, you need to start building a course. You need to start, here's the content. I'll go out on my runs and I'll get these downloads. I'm like, oh, you want me to put that in there? Oh, okay. And so some of the times that I'm working on the content, I have to trust that, because I don't have a download for everything, I wish, but I have to trust, like, okay, well, this is what I'm going to put in here. I hope it's a blessing. But other times it's very clear that, no, this information needs to be out there for people. And the beauty behind this course is that there's nothing really out there like it, because I combine it with faith and through the faith lens, and how treating our body a certain way is God's model. And it's in alignment with functional medicine. So I call it a kingdom model of medicine. And anyone can take the course. I am limited to treat people by my license in the state of Oregon. So I can't, just treat people anywhere out in the US. But again, that's not what this course is for. It is to get the information out there and go, look, this is what you don't know. And here are some resources and places to start looking, things to contemplate spiritually and physically, do a check-in with yourself. Tanika, is it okay if I discuss some of the modules? Okay.
Go ahead. Yeah, let's learn about them.
Let's do it. And you're going to be going through it, which is so fabulous. And this is going to be a fun journey that we're going to take together. But so the first couple of modules really lay the foundation for the rest of the course. The first module is all about functional medicine, what it is, because that's the first question anyone always asks me. I wish I had a nickel for every time someone asks me that. And how it's a kingdom model of medicine. Then the second module is really about our identity and worth and who God says we are in Him. Because if we don't understand that, if we don't believe that, then we are not empowered to make the decisions that we need to make to correct our health issues. Because that's exactly where the enemy wants us. He wants his thumb right on us, pinning us down, believing that we don't deserve this abundant life that God has called us to. And he uses sickness to distract us from God's purpose for our lives, right? So I go all into that. I feel like, shut up, Terri, because you're going to say the whole lesson if you just keep going.
Well, you still have to go through the course. That's the thing. And see, I love the fact that I love to know what's going to happen at the end, because it makes it more interesting for me to go through it to get to the end. So I'm fine. I mean, okay. I'm excited, and I'm glad to hear about what I'm about to get into. So that way, as I come upon it, and everything that you're saying, you're not giving it away, because even as we approach it and I go into it, I'm going to have to really dig deep and look at what I'm looking to get out of this and what I'm looking to gain from it. And so, yeah, I appreciate you sharing it with us.
Yeah. Just the rest of it is lifestyle stuff, like how does functional medicine handle stress? How do we handle diets and supplements, just lifestyle stuff, sleep. And then the last part of it, the last several modules are on specific chronic issues like GI issues, autoimmunity, weight loss. And those modules are last because the first part of it really builds that foundation so you can understand, oh, this is why I might not be losing weight, so that's how it's structured.
And I totally get that. So I'm excited. I wish I could have done this course 10 years ago, but hey, The time is
Yes,
now, and
yes,
it's never too late
that's right.
to, refocus and to restructure and to sometimes just rewire. And
Mhm.
there's nothing wrong with starting again.
No,
And when you
absolutely
start again, it's not like you have to reinvent the wheel or you have to start
not.
over, because now you know some things that you didn't know before.
Right.
And your approach you can be more open-minded, and you can be more aware of what you are actually getting into, and know you're doing it for yourself because you do love yourself enough
Right.
to do something that's going to make you better on all types of levels. And that's with relationships, with people inside and outside of your circle. I mean, just help you to better communicate, just
Mhm.
knowing who
Yep.
you are from inside out. So
Yep.
I
That's right.
appreciate the fact of how we even came
I
together was just a
know.
God thing.
Well, I got to looking at when I was looking for one of your pictures. When Kim did her course, she did that I forget what she called it, but it was a course. I wasn't able to watch everybody. I was only able to watch a few because we were traveling at the time, and I missed you. And when I was looking for a picture of you, I was like, she did the same. We were doing this together.
Yeah.
I got really
Yeah.
excited.
So, I mean, I love how the Lord sets things up and how he intervenes on our behalf to
Yeah,
get us in the right place at the right time. And whatever we're going through, no matter what it is, it's to help us to be better so that we can help others. And so thank you for sharing your gifts and your talents with the world. And when I came to you with coming on to talk about what you do, it was like we started talking about a whole bunch of other things.
I know, we're like, oh, what? But wait, the podcast.
But the one thing, but it opens so many other doors and opportunities for us to connect and to network and to collaborate. And
Yeah,
so I think that this is going to be a beautiful relationship, and we'll be able to touch people on different levels and different ways, and help them to understand where they need to be, or what resources are out there. So can
yeah,
you allow people to know how to contact you, where to get the information, how to get a hold of your course, and how to get more involved in the Abundant Health, Abundant Life program?
sure, sure. So anyone can email me. It's kind of my business name is Fit Being BEING Health and Wellness. So anyone can get in contact with me through the website, which is Fit Being Health and Wellness, or info at Fit Being Health and Wellness. Also Facebook. I have an Abundant Health, Abundant Life business page. And so that's, you can just go to that page and there will be links and all of that there. Also, the course itself is the platform that I've used to build this course is through Member Vault. So if they just go to Member Vault and look for Abundant Health, Abundant Life, that's one way that they can find the course. Details really quick of the course are that it is a self-paced online course. So when I first did this, I did it as like Facebook group challenges, and it was too limiting for that. And people, I mean, this is information that you really need to take time to process and apply to your life. And so God just kind of moved it to coursework, but it's self-paced and it's online. And honestly, Tanika, it's dirt cheap. God just put a number on my heart, and that's what it is. It packs a punch with information and encouragement. And I know that there will be nuggets of information that God will use to speak to you. So it's going to be well worth the cost. So
Yeah. And I mean, and sometimes you just have to invest in yourself to, what are you willing
right.
to invest? What are you willing to put in? And you have to put forth the effort of some type. You have to sacrifice something if
Yes.
you want to get something out of it. And so, I really appreciate you taking the time out today to come on, and also allowing me the opportunity to be able to discuss my journey through Abundant Health, Abundant Life, because I think it's going to be very interesting, and it's going to
I'm
be fun
excited.
to engage and to see where this takes us. I look forward to being with you later on this week because you're going to interview me for one of your spots. And so I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I look forward to just learning more about functional medicine, how it works, and how I can use it actually in my own practice as well.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful to be able to have these kind of conversations and these kind of relationships. I do want to offer you the opportunity to be one of our network friends on my website, where we post links to what you've got going on and to your courses and your workshops. And also, whenever I go live, it'll automatically be on my page. And then that way, if someone's watching it there, they can click on your link to get to where you're at. So that way we can have that network.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out the technology behind how we're going to do this. So yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. So again, I'm just excited to do that. Everyone that was able to watch today, if you weren't able to catch it live, I hope you can catch it on the replay, just to learn a little bit more about functional medicine and alternatives to regular pharmaceuticals, and being put on things that could alter your ability to think straight when you could be in a whole different mind frame with being able to function with the medicine, as far as being holistic or just having an open awareness of taking a different approach on what life has given you and thrown at you, and how to be able to adapt to those changes that are working within your life, and just seeing that things don't always have to be what you think or what you've been taught. There are other alternatives out there that can speak to whatever is going on within you. You just have to know where to go, and hopefully we're here to bring these resources to you to help you to better understand what it is that is out there, and get you in the right playing field. So thank you again for today. Thank you, Dr. Terri. I know some great things are going to be happening for you with the way you're helping everyone. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we end our call today?
No, I just, again, want to thank you for having me on. This is the start of something exciting. And I hope for the listeners that this is the start for something healing for them.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. This will be generated to our podcast that we will be playing on the Mind Your Business on Anchor channel. And so that'll be going out later on. It is streaming live on Facebook and from my website, yourfullmindlife.com. Also, remember that you can get a hold of Dr. Terri at Fit Being Health and Wellness. So make sure you check her out. Go out there and support her ministry and what she's doing to try to bring fit, being, health, and wellness to everyone in this community. Thank you. Have a blessed day. And remember, you were created with purpose. God bless. Terri, please hang out with me for just a minute.
Okay.